Let's talk about a person that's a defensive end in the NFL.
Ooh.
A guy that just got $122.5 million guaranteed. $122.5 million guaranteed. Nick Bosa agrees to a new deal with the San Francisco 49ers.
Wow. Whoa.
This happened last night, obviously, or yesterday. And when it was chatted about by Adam Schefter, who will be joining us next hour on NFL Live yesterday, he said that somebody had to go to a press conference, did not know that this was even close to getting finished. And then by the time the press conference either started or something like that, deal was done. So there was a big about face by one side or the other. We don't know if it was Bosa who made an agreement to come down to $34 million a year, or if it was the Niners that were just like, we can't play without the jungle cat. And if you look at the way our roster is constructed, we're spending money on everybody. So we're not going to spend money on the Defensive Player of the Year. Right now, the San Francisco 49ers have the highest paid defensive end in Bosa, the highest paid running back in Christian McCaffrey, which is a massive conversation because of the running back market. Kyle Juszczyk is the highest paid fullback. I believe that might have changed,
Third,
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, he kind of moved that. He was at one point the highest paid fullback whenever the deal was done. George Kittle is currently the third highest paid tight end. Trent Williams, third highest paid left tackle. Fred Warner is the third highest paid linebacker. Hargrave, sixth highest. Debo, seventh highest. I mean, there is just, whenever you talk about going all in, this is going all in. Now, they can do all this because their quarterback was the last pick of the draft.
Yep. Bingo.
He's only owed $934,000. And although, if you talk to a young version of us,
Sure.
if you talk to me whenever I was 12 years old, and they say, hey, Pat, your entire family is going to make $934,000 in 1 year, boy, we'd be pumped.
Where do we sign?
Everybody would be pumped.
Yeah, I think
When you compare it to the real world, you're like, Brock Purdy's doing A-okay. But whenever you think about roster construction and salary cap gymnastics that they can do with $934,000 as opposed to 35, 40, 50 million on the books, they can do this. They can make their move. The Niners are in a great spot. Bosa seems to be happy and in good shape. He's probably going to have 4 sacks this weekend against Pittsburgh Steelers. And we're never even going to remember the fact that we thought they were delaying this negotiation a little bit too much, D-Bud.
Hey, worth every penny, first and foremost. And this is one of the first big dominoes to fall with the big defensive guys. Obviously, you got Stone Cold Jones out there and Brian Burns, who just practiced yesterday with the Panthers. Be interesting to see how that goes with him. D lineman in Miami, Wilkins. So Jungle Cat getting his money, man. This is a smart move for them. And like you said, they can do this with Brock Purdy. Big year, huge year for Brock Purdy. Probably the best roster in football, top to bottom. So Brock Purdy obviously got to show up now, being the guy from day one.
Yeah, but can Brock Purdy stay healthy?
Right.
That's like classic sports media. You know, he's a little undersized. You saw what happened when he got to Philadelphia. It's like, yeah, but we also saw everything else that happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where he was slicing and dicing and making plays, and he looked right back in so much comfort whenever he played in the preseason after the Tommy yawn. He came back earlier than I think anybody was expecting him to come back, and they're saying he's better than he even was last year. I hope that's the case because this team with Shanahan
Yes.
is supposed to be great.
Yeah.
This team should have had a championship in their eyes.
Right.
Absolutely.
But whenever you look from the outside in, it's like this team seems to have a little bit of a curse.
Yeah.
And that injury bug is wild with the Niners. You think about that NFC Championship game against the Eagles. First quarter, they lost everybody on their everybody that was on that graphic right there.
Brutal.
Somehow had a freak injury in the first quarter of the biggest game of the year, including obviously Brock Purdy. Whenever he has to suffer, they didn't have a person that could throw a forward pass on their roster in the NFC Championship game. It's like if they can get past the curse that seemingly, because you think whenever Jimmy G got hurt, they were in a bad spot. When other people have gotten hurt, they've been in a bad spot. If they can keep healthy this particular year, they should win it all. And they're the NFC team that is getting that chatter when there's like 10 in the AFC getting that talk. So the road is clear for this Niners team who is heavily committed. That's a lot of money guaranteed to a lot of people. Imagine if they don't win. You're like,
Good play.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
Great
but I mean, like you said, though, like if they can avoid being snake bit, like the window is now because it is. Like, I mean, I think a lot of guys on their team also feel like, hey, if what happened in the NFC Championship, like if we play with a full bill of health, we're the better team. We're going to beat the Eagles. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. And like they're outside of the Eagles and the 49ers, like that is the the NFC powerhouses right now. Like it's so wide open that they're not in the AFC where it's like, hey, if we lose 5 or 6 games, there's 11, 12 teams that could make the playoffs over here. So they do need to go now.
But the NFL Network was saying this is going to get done. Adam Schefter will be joining us about 20. This is going to get done. Insiders in San Francisco, this is going to get done. Everybody around football is like, they're going to get a deal done with Nick Bosa. That's the way it goes. But then tick, 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 tick. We're getting real close to season. It's like, hey, if they're going to get it done, why haven't they got it done? Allegedly, there was a bout faced by, we assume, the Niners about getting a deal done because they weren't close as of yesterday at some point. And then, boom, biggest defensive deal in the history of the NFL comes through the wire. $122.5 million guaranteed, $170 million as a total over 5 years. I think he gets like $50 million or something like that at signing. It is absurd. It's a great deal. The Bosas do good business. That is what the Bosas do. How do you feel about this? And why do you think it took so long? And what would the Niners look like without Bosa?
I mean, I think they're a completely different defense without him. Now they have studs all over the place at all 3 levels when you look at the Niners D, but like you say, he changes the numbers. Bosa's out there. You set the protection to him. You're always worried about him. You don't ever feel good about it being singled up on him with even probably a tackle. So especially don't want to get your tight end singled up on him. We see that coaches get blamed for being like the worst coach ever if you single up a tight end on a guy like Nick Bosa.
Oh, that was a big internet thing.
Yeah.
Let's stop blocking D ends with tight ends. It was like a big thing, and I can understand. I saw Max Crosby welcome
Michael Mayer.
Michael Mayer to the NFL in Raiders practice. I don't know if you saw that. He actually told D. Lyman, watch this.
Yeah.
And then Max Crosby put his head right underneath Michael Mayer, Notre Dame tight end, rookie, and then just ran him 20 yards and then dumped him on his back or whatever. And then if that was in a real game, the internet would be like, why is that happening? But that does happen with sometimes plays that are called, and there's a play clock, and there's substitution that happens, and whenever you have those moments, you got to take advantage of them, and Bosa takes advantage of every single moment. I got to watch him play against Seattle. When that dude lays out, bro, he sprawls out. He's like this.
Yep.
AJ?
There we go. Yep, you look just like him.
Yeah, I know. I've been watching film. He's 6 yards. He is somehow
He does look
18
different in the
feet long.
stands. Huge. He looks different. You could pick him out in the stands from a mile away. I feel like you're like, oh, that's a Bosa. That's Joey or Nick probably, or possibly his dad.
I'm sitting up in the booth with Herb Street now Michaels for this Thursday night game against Niners Seahawks. First time in Seattle. It was loud. It was awesome. No big deal. I get to do it. But you're looking down there and you just see a human that is just longer and bigger than everybody. It's like there is a Jaguar out there on the field with everybody else, and it's Bosa. And he just so happens to have an incredible work ethic. His commitment is there. His football IQ is through the roof. He knew he's the best player in defensive football. He gets $34 million a year. With Brock Purdy's contract, they can do this. But if the Niners don't win, I mean, it has to be the shock of this guy is going to be ready to go this weekend. Against your Pittsburgh Steelers, he's getting 4 sacks.
Is he?
Kenny
Yeah, he
Pickett
will,
is
Yes, he will.
Good. You know what? I can tell you what he didn't do. He didn't kick the door in to get this deal done like T.J. Watt did. So does he like football, or does he like taking money away from the people of San Francisco?
We don't know if that's true or not. We'll ask Schefter.
Yeah, good.
That's right.
You know what? I'm glad to hear that. But I'm actually glad he's playing because I don't want to hear excuses when the Steelers win on Sunday. Okay? Ooh. Because all the people who would be tweeting on X, okay?
We like that. That's what we're doing. We're saying that's the new thing.
They would have said, "Oh, you guys only won because Joey Bosa was out." Well, guess what? He's not. He's not out. And guess what? You guys were talking about blocking ends with tight ends. George Kittle said that he wanted all T.J. Watt in Week 1, and now is he even going to play, or is he scared?
Oh.
Okay? So
Whoa,
these are
get in front of the program. We're undefeated at
These
WrestleMania.
are the questions we need to be asking. No, I'm not friends with any of them Week 1.
Okay, I like that you're holding that. He's a diehard Steelers fan. I think the Steelers are going to be better than they have been. I think the offense is incredible. I saw a Hembo stat this morning on Get Up. Pickett and Pickens, highest QBR of any quarterback wide receiver combo last year, like 97.8 or something. Now, they chose not to throw the ball.
Sure.
So that's just like when an airport in Indianapolis wins the best airport in the world,
Right.
but it has 4 flights out of it a day. It's like, how do they keep it so clean? Well, there's nobody here.
Exactly.
It's very quick. Well, there's nobody here. It's like, well, they didn't throw the ball much to Pickens at all, but when they did, it was a success story. Feels like Matt Canada, the offense coordinator, going to open up a little bit more.
If the preseason is any indication, then yeah. But Steelers haven't given up more than 17 in the last 7 that T.J. Watt has played, and the Niners are really good at defense. So this one might be a low score.